Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Is the screen is visible to you? To all?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It is in slideshow mode only, ma'am. No, ma'am. I have presented in the slideshow mode only.
Good morning.
Now kindly check whether it is in a presentation mode. Yeah, ma'am. That is in presentation mode only. I shared to you. Share it. Now check, ma'am. Now,
Good morning to all. We would like to acknowledge the presence of our Ms. K.Vani ma'am, Python trainer, Brainstack Solution Private Limited. The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job and Good morning to all. We would like to acknowledge the presence of our Ms. K. Vani ma'am, Python trainer, Brainstack Solution Private Limited. The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. A very good morning once again to everyone, and welcome to Enhancing Programming Knowledge on National Webinar. 2023. Lot of learning about everything. We need to learn about our chosen topic. I hope you will find the program to be fruitful and engaging. I would like to call Mr. R. Balamurugan Sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, VISTAS, to propose of welcome address.
Good morning to everyone. It is a great privilege for me to welcome you all on behalf of management staff and students of Department of Computer Science, Wales Institute of Science Technology Advanced Study for the national webinar on enhancing the programming knowledge. In this occasion, I welcome and thanks the Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Control of Examination for giving their support to organize such type of seminars in a periodic manner. I welcome our HOD Dr. S. Kamal sir to always motivate and guide us to conduct this event. I welcome our today chief guest, Ms. K.Vani, Python trainer, Brainstack Solution Private Limited, Chennai, for accepting our invitation and spend her valuable time and her knowledge with us. Next, I welcome our student and staff who eagerly waiting to hear the seminar and acquire the knowledge. Finally, I welcome and congratulate the organizer to select the topic of relevance and making the event to be fruitful for the student community. Once again, I welcome you all this event and hope this seminar will give real insight of the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to call Dr. G. Talambal, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science, VISTAS, to continue for the speaker introduction.
Thank you, Vishwa ma'am. I have got great privilege to introduce you ma'am. K.Vani, she has completed her MCA, M.Phil, ME, and pursuing her Ph.D. And she is a Python trainer from Brainstack Solutions Private Limited, Chennai. She has acquired international certifications from Red Hat Linux, Oracle, and Cloud. She is training various industry persons on Python and Python AWS automation using Boto 3 and trained the students of Tasneem VV Abdul Khader College for Women, Kilakare, on Microsoft Data Analyst Associate DA 100 from January 2022 to March 2022 under Student Empowerment Program on behalf of ICT Academy, Tamil Nadu. She was visiting faculty to University of Madras for the Department of Cyber Forensics and Information Security for the subject Security and Forensics Oriented Python Programming. She has published many books entitled Python and Me, Magic of Python for Beginners, Computer Architecture with MIPS, A Beginning Data Science with Python, and so on. She designed and developed a software for generating the e-certificate for the events conducted in the college using Python, and it was implemented and used from April 2022 till date. She completed 9 online courses and attended more than 10 FTPs, faculty development programs, workshops, and presented and published 4 papers. Thank you, ma'am. The stage is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. I hand over the section to Ms. K.Vani, ma'am, for the resource person to continue the section.
Ma'am, am I audible? No, ma'am, I didn't present the window. Yeah, I didn't present the window. Okay. Good day to all. I thank the management and Department of Computer Science for this opportunity. And today we are going to discuss the topic enhancing knowledge. Before we enter into the topic, I wish to share few things. Then we enter into the topic. So I hope that my audible is clear. I think that is it clear. Fine. We'll go for that. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that. First thing, we always have a one thinking that programming is very tough. Am I right or wrong? If I'm right, write the content in the chat window. So we have a thought that programming is very tough. I don't have an idea. I'm not good in programming. Programming won't come for me. Like that, we have thoughts. Correct or not? The first thing what? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Anyway, there is a thought, ma'am, whether the students is able to discuss with me or they can write that doubt in the chat box. What is the provision given to them, ma'am? Is it any provision? Otherwise, I can continue. Ma'am? Okay. Suppose if they want to ask anything means they can unmute and then they can talk, right? So question answer session. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. The point is, No, I'm suppose if they ask anything, suppose they ask question, they can answer in the chat window. That is easy to view the chat window and then discuss with them. Okay, then I will go there. Yeah, okay. So generally, we have a thought that programming is very tough. Actually, writing programs in computer is not a tough task. That is the reality. We have a thought that the programming is very tough. That's why we feel that we cannot write program, and then we cannot write program in C or C++. Anything we can say that. But the thing is, if you are good in the concepts of programming language, it is easy to write the programming. That is the first point. So first you have to understand the concept. Without understanding, if you are trying to write coding, obviously you feel that it is very difficult. That is the first point I wish to know that programming is it is easy one thing. Second thing, you have to understand the concept. And there is another question all programming Java, Python, Go, like that. Still more languages are available. Ma'am, I didn't share. I didn't share. When I'm sharing, I will tell and then I'm sharing. Just I'm giving the introduction. Yeah, fine. So there is lot of programming languages, and there is another question rise in our mind, right? Which programming language I have to study? When I study C, and when I am going to industry, they will ask me to do programming some other language, and that is the next question. Then which language I have to study? What are all the language I studied throughout my degree course that won't be work out when I go for the industry? They ask me to do work on the some other languages. That is the next question. So, what is the problem here? So, the concept for all the programming languages are common. That is the main point we should understand. So, if you understand the concept in one language, then it is easy to apply that concepts in any other language. That is the expectation of the industry, whether you are good in concept, then they have the confidence that they can train you in any other programming language and you are fit into their industry. That is the point I wish to share with you. And one more point here, we have another doubt. Only the BSc computer science students, only the BSc BCA students can write coding. Others cannot write the coding. No, it's not like that, right? So the person who is able to understand the concept in one programming language, they can do the coding in better way than the computer science and BCA students. So if that other non-computer science students can do better, why can't the BSc computer science and BCA students? It is possible. That is the point I wish to share with here. Now I share the screen for the presentation and I'm going to discuss in what are all the areas you have to concentrate when you study a programming language. That is the point today I'm going to discuss. If you are concentrate in this areas and if you understand the concept in that areas, then it is easy for you to write the coding in any programming language. I hope that now I am sharing the screen. The screen is visible to you all. Fine. The first thing we should know I am going to tell very basic concept. Somebody may know that, but that basic concept help you to write the coding in better way. The first point, what is coding? What you are going to do in the programming, that you should know first. Actually, computer is made up of lot of hardwares, right? If that hardware has to work means you have to write the instruction to make the hardware to work. That is called as commands. That is the first point we have to discuss. Yes, of course, there is a hardware part. Hardware part is a physical components, and software is its commands used to make all the hardware of your computer to work. So I'm going to discuss So how you will do? You have to give the instructions. So first you have to give the instructions to make the hardware to work. That the technical terminology is called as a commands. First thing you should learn commands. That is how to give the instructions. And then what is the problem in giving commands? So assume that when you are going for a working place, you have to give 10 commands every day morning 10 o'clock. And after some work is processed, on, you have to give the same 10 commands at 4 o'clock also. So what happened? So when you are going to the your working place, you get ready with the thing, and 10 o'clock starts. Then you have to type all the commands. Either you have to memorize the commands, or you have to write the commands in the paper, and you have to type it. And after that, all the 10 commands you have given, the work is started. And 4 o'clock, you have to again give the commands. Again, you have to type the commands from the paper or from your memory. That is the thing. So, this is the way first the instructions are given to the computer. Each and every time you have to type the commands and the output is generated by the computer. That's the point. And later on, we feel every day I have to type 10 commands, 10 o'clock, and put again. Suppose sometimes again 2 o'clock also you have to type 10 command means you have to type everything each and every time. So there is an alternative for giving the command. What they have done, they create all the 10 commands in a file. Okay, that's the what commands you are going to type at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever it is. They store all the command in a file, and at 10 o'clock, they will ask that file to execute. Then there is no need to type all the 10 commands. Just you have to write only one command. That command have to execute that file. But in that file, all your 10 commands are there. That will be executed. That is the next step. The program. So first we have to learn how to give commands, then to make the command into programs, and then you have a multiple task. 10 o'clock, one set of commands. 11 o'clock, another set of commands. 12 o'clock, another set of 10 commands. Like that. 2 o'clock, another set of programs. Now what happened? You need 4 programs. 1 o'clock, one program. 11 o'clock instruction, one program. 12 o'clock instruction, one program. 2 o'clock instruction, one program. Collectively, you have the 5 programs. What happened? All the 5 programs combined together, you make it as a software. Then click button 1, 10 o'clock program will be executed. Click button 2, 11 o'clock program will be executed. Click button 3, 12 o'clock program will be executed. Click button 4. Like that, you make that. So actually, we are creating software. We are all software developers, of course. But how they are? Somebody is raising question. Somebody is trying to talk. Okay, fine. So first, in the programming language, you should learn how to give instruction, how to convert that instruction into programs, and how to collectively join the related programs to make a software. This is the basic concept of programming. I will show you an example after the theory part is over. Then you can understand how to learn programming, how to implement your ideas on programming language. Then, when we are coming to software, there is an application software, system software, and there is a utility software. These types of softwares are available. Then understand the concept. There is a different types of software, and each software has its own purpose. If it is application software, it's a solution for the problem. That is, if you are going to write the instruction, that instruction solution to the problem, especially all manual works or automated, then it is application software. Okay. When you are giving the instruction for this purpose, then your program will be the application programs. So example, all our billing systems, payroll processing, ticket processing, banking processing, everything comes under application software. And there will be a question that whether I have to go for application software, whether I have to go for a system software. Based on your knowledge, based on your interest, you can select either application side or system side. Then come to the point. What is system software? So, application software, I clearly mentioned that all the manual work has to be automated. When you're coming for the system software, it is the proper working of the computer hardware. Even though you have developed an application software, that application software has to run properly with the help of system software. All the system softwares are morely related to hardware. So, for example, your operating system, assembler, compiler, interpreter, loader, linker, devices. All these things are comes under your system software, and we are all very well know that operating system has the whole control over your hardware of the computer. So, if you are able to develop the operating system software, if you are able to write the coding to automate the manual process, then you are an application developer. That is the concept here. If you are able to develop compiler, then you are a system software. Right? That is the classification. Resource is used to develop for a particular purpose. For example, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Photoshop. So obviously, when you are going for the presentation, we are going to select the PowerPoint. I don't prefer the Word to presentation. I don't prefer the PowerPoint for typing the documentation purpose. This is the utility software. And then we should know there is a standalone application and web application and website. What is standalone application? First thing, initially, when we are creating the programs or when we are creating the softwares, all the softwares are standalone application. Standalone applications mean the softwares are executed from the particular location, from the particular system on particular time only. That is a standalone application. That was the initial stage of programming level. Nowadays, we are moving web applications and websites. Fine. Standalone application. Can I give, ma'am? Can you give one example? Very simple. In initial stage, for billing software, the software is installed in the system of that particular shop. So whenever you want to work on that billing software, you have to go for the particular location and enter into the shop, and from that shop system only you are able to access the thing. That was the case when the standalone. Nowadays we are creating all the web applications. Suppose assume that I'm running a one shop. So every day I go to the shop and check accounts, everything is fine. But if it is a web application, if I take 4 days leave and I go for some other places, from my mobile phone itself, I can access the software of my own shop from anywhere at any time. That is the concept. When internet concept is established, this web application and websites concepts are implemented. So anyway, whatever it is, whether it is a system application, whether it is a web application, whether it is a website, whether it is a system software, whether it is an application software, the basic concept is you have to learn how to give instruction, how to make the instruction into program, how to make the program into software. That is the concept. But the area is different. So when working with application or website, HTML, CSS, you should learn some client-server scripting language and server-side scripting language. If we are going to use JavaScript or jQuery, that are the most popular client-side scripting language. In server-side, PHP, Python, JSP, and all these are all concepts. So there is a question, ma'am, I have to learn all these languages. No, either you have to thorough with JavaScript or Python, any one of the languages. Combine all together, you can create a web application and website. And there is a one question raised here. What is website and what is web application? So when it is a website, it is a common to all, anyone can access, right? If it is a web application, it is relevant to the particular organization. The people, those who are involved in that organization, are able to access that web application. So these are all the various areas you can show your programming knowledge potential. Fine. The next point is what is the concept of in programming language? Actually, we know that computer can understand only the machine language, that is zeros and ones. That is the point here. So machine can understand anything in the form of zeros and ones. But as a human being, we didn't use zeros and ones anymore. But initial stage, we have to give the instruction. We have to give the instruction in a zeros and ones format only, right? So how the interaction is taken place? One side human, one side the machine. The machine is nothing but your computer. So human has to interact with the machine language with the machine, and machine with replayed with machine language to human. So what is a machine language? The zeros and ones format. Can anyone can understand that what is the zeros and ones represent? And the computer will return the result as zeros and ones format. So no one can understand if you know the machine language. So if you know the machine language, then only you can understand what is the zeros and one instructions with it. So what is the drawback here? But that was the case. You imagine that nowadays we feel that programming is very tough, 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 tough. But at the initial stage, you have to learn how to give the instruction in zeros and ones format, and the machine replayed with zeros and ones format output that has to be converted into human understandable format. Obviously, it is very tedious to write the coding in zeros and ones format. Then, next level of programming is developed. They developed the assembly language programming, that is ALP. So it is a partial human language and partial machine language. Here I have given some example. A add x comma bx. The add indicates that yes, it is an addition. The sub indicates that obviously it is a subtraction. And this points we don't know understand because it is a combination of machine language. Now the point is there is a human, there is a machine. From the day one to till day, machine can understand only the machine language. So, but we moved to the assembly language. Obviously, there is a translator is needed, which convert the instructions which are given in assembly language format into machine language, and machine given machine language format into assembly language format. This is the second level of programming. So what is the problem here? Again, here we are having partial machine language that is very difficult, but still assembly language has its own strength. If you are good in assembly language, you can go for system side programming. Fine. Then later they will come to the high level language. What are all the programming language? Nowadays we are using C, C++, VB, Pascal, whatever it is, all are high level language. So human feels that assembly language is also tough enough to create the programs. So what happens? We will move on to the high level language. Then high level language means purely we are going to give the instruction to the computer in human understandable format, that especially in English we are giving the instruction. Now there is a translator which is called a compiler or an interpreter which converts that into machine language, and machine can understand that, and vice versa is happening. Why? There is a two translators. There are two translators, both are having a different working methodology. So the language developers, they may set compiler as their translator or interpreter as the translator to convert the high level instruction to machine level instruction. Fine. How compiler works? Whole conversion. Suppose if you write 10 line of programming. All the 10 line has to be converted into machine language as a whole and store the machine language format in a separate file. So your original file is separately there and your uh, source that is executable file is separately. So you have a two files. So you need extra space when you are using compiler. Interpreter means 10 lines means line by line conversion. There is no need to create a separate file. And there is a question. Now, it is possible for the programmer choice to select the translator. No, it is not our choice to select the translator. The language developers, they fix the translator. We have to use that translator to convert it. So all these things are behind the screen only. Your role is you have to learn how to give the instruction in high level language. That is the point. So these are all the things we should know before studying a programming language. Why we are studying? So whether we are studying high level language or assembly language, machine language, what purpose we are using, all the things to be done here. So these are all the things. Then there is an important topic, data type and variables, where we are lagging when we are writing the thing. So when you are going for a programming languages, you should know what is data type and what is variable, right? First thing, data type. So I told that previously I explained that computer can understand only zeros and ones. But in real world, we are using whole numbers, positive number, negative number, float number, alphabet, special characters. That is the real-time data. But computer understand everything as zeros and ones. So it is programmer's responsibility that we have to tell that whether it is zeros and ones of whole number, whether it is zeros and ones of decimal places, whether it is zeros and ones of alphabets, whether it is zeros and ones of a string. That that is the responsibility of the programmer that they have to tell this is the zeros. You can convert it zeros and ones format, but in real world it is a integer. That thing we have to specify. That is the data type. That is the type of data you are going to use in that thing is the data type. In real world, we can say that it is a whole number. The terminology in programming language, it is integer. So in real world, we are saying that it is a decimal places. In terms of computer, it is a float. In real world, we are saying that alphabet special character. In the case of computer, we can say that it is a character or a string. So this is the terminology equivalent to your real-time data and also which is represented in. So you have to specify you are going to use integer means whole number data. Float means decimal places data. And then string means it is alphabets and special characters. So first thing is we have to understand the data type concept and then variables. Variable is nothing but a name given to the value. Obviously, when we are having children in our home, we are giving each and every child has its own name. Whenever you call you want to call the child, then you can call it by its name. Obviously, the particular child will come and ask you the concept, whether you're called me or not. Like that, the child has an interaction with us. Like that, in your program, whatever value you are going to use, for that values, you have to give the name. So whenever you call the name, that value will be replaced in that place. So variable is nothing but value that is name given to the values. So whenever you call that variable, that value will be replaced. So see, when we are giving the name to the children, we have to identify whether it is a boy child, whether it is a girl child, and we have to check with the numerology, and then we have to check with the fancy names like that. We are giving names to the child now. Like that, when you are giving the variable name, we have to follow certain rules and regulations. First letter should be alphabets, that is A to Z. From the second letter onwards, it may be alphabets or it is a number. So special characters are not allowed except underscore. So that is the concept of this. So in our program, obviously we are going to deal with data. Data is called as value. For that value, you are going to give a name. Whenever you call that name, that data will be available. That is the variable here. So before entering into the next topic, I will show few examples where we are giving the instruction as commands, how we make it as a programs, and then software means collection of programs. I will show few simple example in Python. So first thing, I open the Python environment. So this is the environment where I can give the instruction as commands. Fine. So I'm going to print the some information. There is a print statement which is, so you should study which command is used for doing the particular task. Now I want to print something on the screen. So I should learn what is the command used to print the content on the screen. So there is a statement called function called print that is used to print the content. So that is the programmer's role where you have to study which statement is used for which purpose, and second thing is how to give that statement, that is called as a syntax. In every programming language, always we are saying that syntax, which is nothing but the format. That's all. So print is a statement. The format is open and closing bracket. Within open and closing bracket, I can specify anything. Here I'm saying that Brainstack solutions. One instruction. That's all. When I give the instruction, it will immediately reply with answer Brainstack solution. Fine. Next is, I told that 35 is the value and I'm giving the name to the variable. So x equal to 35 means the value 35 has the name x. Then I'm saying that y equal to 56. Then 56 the value and the name given to 56 is y. Then z equal to, I'm saying that x plus y. X is a variable, y is a variable. When I call x, 35 is replaced. When I call y, 56 is replaced. When you combine together, the result will be stored in the variable z. When I print z, obviously the answer will be. When I print x, so now I am giving the commands. Okay, fine. So once I close it, all the content what I have worked till now will be erased. Again, I will open the idle. This is the environment where you are going to create a Python program. So in the last case, I have given x, y, z. So I'm going to print x. So you know that the 35 is assigned to x. But when you give that, all the values are erased. This is the initial stage and this is the command mode. When you are giving the instruction, all the instructions are available when you are inside that particular thing. Once you exit and come back, all the data will be erased. So this is the first step. That is, first you have to learn how to give commands. But what is the problem? Each and every time. So now I need x means each and every time I have to assign x equal to 35, y equal to 56. Every time I have to assign it. That is a drawback here. So what is the solution? Make the command as a program. So how will you make it as a program? Fine. New file. Here I am saying that x equal to 35, y equal to 56, z equal to x plus y. different. I can say that x comma y comma z. So I save the program. When you run this, so x is 35, y is 5691. What is the benefit here? So each and every time when you run this, the value is constantly in the program. If you close and open it anytime, the program is available. So you can go there, open the file. So where we have that desktop, we have stored it as sample, I think so. So whenever you want, you open it and then you can run it. The data is permanent. But in the case of giving instruction, the data is not permanent. Each and every time you have to give the instruction.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I think somebody is trying to talk. Okay. Fine. So now when you write it in a command mode, once you type everything, when you come out from then everything is erased, you have to type it again. But when you going with programming concept, everything is readily available and you are going to run it. So that is the concept I have mentioned. First step, you have to learn how to give the commands. Second step, how to make the command into a programs. And final step is you have to create more programs like this. All these programs are collectively combined together and create the software. That is the concept here. So in that here, variable, I have given x is a variable, y is a variable, z is a variable, and you study. Print is the statement which is used to display the content on the screen in Python. So when you are learning, you should understand like this. Okay, print statement is used to display the content. So like that, you understand the concept, and then you have to create the program. And from here, there is an input output statement. Whenever, whichever programming language, there are few things are common. Input output statement. And second one, first one, I have already told that it is a data type and variables. And third is the input output statement. Fourth is a decision making statement. Fifth is the looping statement. Sixth is the function. These six concepts are core concepts in every programming languages. So you have to thorough with all things. And then when you are writing program, you have to combine input, decision, looping, function, all these concepts whenever it is necessary to use it. That when we are studying the programming language, you study every concept separately. Input, output statement separately, decision making statement separately, looping statement separately, function separately. Obviously, we are going to study like that only. But when you are creating the program, you should identify where to use input statement, where to use output statement. If there is any of decision making or doing, so whichever is needed, that has to be applied. If there is a need of function, that is the idea you have to create. How to create that idea? By practice. Practice makes a man perfect. There is no doubt on that. You have to do more programs to make you perfect in programming language. So why we are giving input output statements? Again with the example. Input statement is used to run your commands for with different input. That is the purpose of input statement. You create a program, but your program has to be executed for different input. Means your program should contain input statement and then output statement. Once all your process is over, your output statement is used to display the output on the. When using output statement, you are not able to see the output on the screen. Again, the same example. I will move with that. I have created one program, that is sample program. We'll open that. In that program, I didn't use any input statement. So I have assigned some value and then the output statement is a print. If you remove that output statement and run the program, nothing you will see in the screen. How many times you can run the program? So without output statement, you are not able to see the output of your answer on the screen. So for that purpose, we are using output statement. So that understanding is important when you are writing the program. So that is for every programming language, there is an input statement and there is an output statement, whether it is C, C++, Java, Python, Pascal, VB, whatever it is. So if you understand that input is getting the values while executing the program, output is will display the output. So then you can apply the syntax of that particular knowledge in your programming concept. And other important concept is every programming languages has a operators. Operators plays a vital role. So there are three operators which are more important than other languages. What are they? Arithmetic operators, relational operators, and logical operators. Arithmetic operators, it is nothing but which will do all your mathematical functions. Example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all these are comes under arithmetic operators. So normally when you are going for a process, there may be a addition, there may be a multiplication, division, all these mathematical function has to be done. For that, every programming languages have a arithmetic operators. Fine. Next is the relational operators. First one is the arithmetic operators. It's commonly for making the mathematical process. Relational operator, it is used to check the relationship between two values. Whether one value is less than another value, one value is greater than another value, one value is equal to another value. For that, we are using relational operators, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal. Always the relational operations are used for decision making. So wherever there is a condition or a decision, in that place, relational operation will come there. It will return either true or false. Nothing is there. And then logical operator means relational operator, we can have only one condition, whether this value is less than that value. That means one relationship can be done with relational operator. If you want to do more than one relational operation, then we will combine the relational operation with logical operations. Simply and or not. And the final result will be either true or false, whether it is a relational operator, whether it is a logical operator. The final answer will be either true or false only. So how we can go with that? For example, in our home, our child come and approach us and ask to buy a bicycle. Then this is a chance for the parents to make a condition for that child. If you get 100 out of 100 in maths, then I will buy the cycle. There is only one condition, 100 out of 100, exam is over. When the child brings the marks, then you check whether that mark is equal to 100. Then if it is equal to 100, it is true, then you have to buy the cycle. Suppose if the child gets 90 means 90 equal to 100, condition false, then obviously you'll go for the another decision, there is no bicycle. That is the one relation. So logical operators means if the child come and ask us that to buy a bicycle, then this is a chance for us to make the child to get a first rank in class also. Then we made a condition. You have to get 100 out of 100 in maths and rank is 1. If you satisfy both the condition, you will get the bicycle. Now, there is a two relation. One relation is you have to check whether the max marks is equal to 100, and another relation is whether the rank is equal to 1. Now you make a connection between this relational operation. If you make a connection with AND, you can understand the concept clearly. You can have any number of relational operations. If all are connected with AND means all the condition must return true, then only the final result will be true. Otherwise, it is false. So, and then or, if you connect with or means if all the conditions are false, final result will be false. So you should understand whether whether you are when you are doing project, when you are doing program, whether you are going to use with a single relational operation or more than relational operations are combined together. When you are going to combine, whether it is connected with and or not, based on that the decision will be taken. For that purpose, we are using relational and logical operators. Few more operators are available, but these three operators are very basic operators to write a good programming concept. So I hope that till now there is no doubt. Shall I proceed further? I will go with the next concept. Next is the decision making statement. What is decision making? Generally, your program is executed sequentially. Sequentially means one by one. I will open the command. I will open the file. So in this program, how many lines you are having? There are, I will state x comma y comma z. Fine. So here there are 4 lines. When you execute the program, first line is executed. So 35 is assigned to y. Second line is executed. 56 is assigned to y. Then only third line x plus y, 35 plus 56, 91 is stored in s. Then fourth line you are printing. All the lines are executed one by one. All the first 3 lines are executed behind the screen. You will see only the last fourth line on your screen. So before executing all the 3 lines only, you are getting the fourth line. So this is a sequential execution. You make this sequential execution into non-sequential based on a condition. So in every situation, we cannot execute the statement sequentially. Sometimes there are statements which has to be executed when the condition is satisfied, and another set of statements are executed when the condition is not satisfied. So in that situation, we are having the decision making statement. The name itself indicates that decisions are making based on your condition. That's all. So when you are coming for decision making statement in every programming language, there are 4 types of decision making statement: simple if else, if else if, nested if. All these 4 decision making statements are available in all programming languages. The format is different, but the concept is same. All the decision making statements are working same in all the programming language. But when you are writing in C, you have to follow the C syntax. When you are writing in C++, you have to follow with C++ syntax. Fine. The first one is a simple if. So simple if means first you have to check the condition. If that condition is true, some set of statements are executed. That's all. Some decision has to be taken based on the condition. So simple if means it will check the condition. So wherever there is a condition, in that place relational operation will. இதுதான் நம்ம தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். So this is the thing we have to understand, that wherever we are going to make a condition, the condition is nothing but your relational operation. So you make a condition. If the condition is true, you have to execute some set of statements. And there will be a question, what happens if the condition becomes false? Automatically, all the statements related to that particular condition will not be executed. That's all. Either it will execute some set of statements or it will skip the statement. This is the simple if. Fine. Then what is the next level? If else. If else means, again, you have to check the condition. In that condition, you are going to set a relational operation. If it returns true, one set of statements are executed. If it returns false, another set of statements is executed. In the case of previous one, if the condition is false, nothing happens. It will skip the line and move on to that. In the second case, if the condition is false, another set of statements are there. So very simple example, take the same thing, the child come and ask us to buy a bicycle and we make a condition that you have to get 100 out of 100 in maths, right? Now what happened? The child is trying to get 100 out of 100, and then the child has a doubt, then it will immediately it will come there. If I am suppose if I didn't get 100 out of 100, I will get 98 or something, you will buy something else. So when we will accept that. Now what happened? If the child gets 100 out of 100, there is no other option. We have to buy the bicycle for the child. Suppose if the child gets 98, so obviously it does not meet the condition. The condition is false. 98 is not equal to 100. Obviously, we'll go for the another option. We will buy a chocolate or whatever the child likes, that we will give it to. So that is the second option, if else. Then else. Else if means, first it will check the condition. If that condition is true, one set of statements are executed, and then else, suppose if the condition is false, else we'll go for another condition. So the child make a condition like this: if I get 100 out of 100, you will buy the bicycle. Okay. If I am getting 90 to 100, you will buy a new bag for my school. Then below 90, nothing will be there. So there is a situation. So now what happened? You will check whether 100 equal to 100, then bicycle. Otherwise, you will check another condition, whether the mark is between 90 to 100. Then you'll go for the else if condition. And finally, first condition is false, second condition is false, then we'll go for the else part. So this is it. Nested if I didn't mention here because nested if is not used frequently in the concept, because instead of nested if, we will move on to the logical operator. So these three decision making statements are important, and that will be a question. Ma'am, there is a if else, there is a simple if, then there is a simple else if. Which decision making statement I have to use? There is a confusion. Then you have to analyze whether there is a only one condition. The condition is satisfied, one set of statement, then simple if. Okay, fine. That is a simple if else. If else means, well, you can understand it from the example itself. 100 out of 100 bicycle. Below 100, nothing is there. So there is no more option for if else or if else. Then the child make that. If it is 100 out of 100, then you will buy a bicycle. If I didn't get the 100 out of 100, at least you can buy a 2 or 3 chocolates for me. Like that, it may ask. Apo, there is a situation that the condition is true, one handling. If the condition is false, another handling. So if else. Like that, based on your requirement, you have to decide whether you have to use if else or if else. That is the thing. Then looping statement. So looping statement is for repeated execution of your statements. So why the need of repeated statement? So repeated statement means some of the statements are repeatedly executed. For repeated execution, you have to create that statement to that number of times. That is possible. So but instead of using looping statement. So you have to specify to the number of times or until the condition is true. So here also you can consider one example. Suppose if I ask you to tell the number 1 to 100, then you know that it is starting is 1, end is 100. You can say that end is 100. So that is a specified number of times. If you know how many times it has to be executed, then you can specify the number of times. And now, or until the condition is true. Now I ask you to tell the number. Then immediately you ask that, ma'am, where to stop. Then I said that. When I said, then I stop telling the numbers. Now you don't know how many numbers you have to tell. Obviously, you say that start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then immediately in your inner mind, when will ma'am say no? Stop. Then you can continue 11, 12, 10, 20. Then immediately in your inner, when will you ma'am say? You are waiting for me to tell stop to stop the number 10. So that is the situation until the condition is true. So when you repeat the statement to the specified number of times or until the condition becomes false, that is the case here. Here I will go with one example for implementing the looping statement. Very simple example. Suppose I want to print the name 10 times. Then obviously how many print statement I have to use without loop? 10 print statement. Obviously you have to copy it and paste it. So without loop, 10 times means you have to copy and paste it 10 times. Then run the program, you will get the output. Very good. Suppose I want to print name 20 times. Then you have to write the print statement 20 times, right? So you have to print the statement 20 times. Suppose I want to print 100 times means I have to copy and paste it 100 times, right? Now the number of lines are increased. So how will you solve this? Using loop statement. Then my need is I have to give only one print statement. That print statement has to run to the specified number of times. So how will you use this? Instead of this, we'll go with the looping statement. For that purpose, the number of lines are reduced. So how will you reduce? Either you can use any one of the loop. I equal to 1 while I is less than or equal to 10. Then you will go with print statement. So all the remaining print statement will be removed. So here you can go with equal to. So using only 4 lines, I can display 100 times or 10 times or 20 times. See here, only 4 lines I am using. Suppose 20 times means I will change the condition here. So instead of writing 20 lines, 100 lines, suppose I want to display 200 times, no problem, it will display within 4 lines. So it will display the 200 times finally. That's all. Right? But the number of lines are very simple, only 4 lines. Using 4 lines, I can go with any number of times. But in the case of without looping means I have to retype the print statement 200 times. That is the power of looping statement. So when you are writing, go for the looping statements, you have to remember 2 points. The points before writing the looping statement, you should have all these points in your hand before writing your looping statement. First thing, you should identify the statements to be executed repeatedly. Which statements has to be executed repeatedly? That has to be identified. So here The print statement has to be executed repeatedly. That is the identification. Then how many times or until which condition? That is the ending value. When you are writing the looping statement, there should be the ending point. Without ending point, if you write the looping statement, it will run infinitely. Your program will not be terminated. That is the point. So how many times? So I am deciding 10 times, 100 times, 200 times. That is the second thing you have to identify. Which statement to be executed repeatedly? Then you have to identify how many times it has to be repeated. Then what is the starting value? So it's a very simple example. If I ask you tell the number from 1 to 100, then starting value is 1, ending point is 100. If I ask you to tell the number 100 to 1 means starting is 100, ending is 1. So what is the start value? You have to identify. What is the end value? You have to identify. And then whether we have to increment or decrement to reach the ending value. That is the point you have to identify. If I say, if I ask you to tell the number 1 to 100, obviously you are increment by 1, right? 1 plus 1, 2. So that's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You to reach the end value. Suppose if I ask you to tell the number 100 to 1, what happened? 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 90, 89, like that. So your decrement. So you have to identify whether we have to increment or decrement to reach the destination point, that is the ending point. And then how much to increment or how much to decrement. If I ask you to tell the number to 1 to 100, you will increment 1 by 1. If I ask you to tell the number 100 to 1, you will decrement 1 from the previous number. Suppose if I ask you to tell the number 1 to 100 of 5, then you how will you say that 5, 10, 15, 20? You will increment by 5. If I ask you to tell the number from 100 to 1s of 5 means 100, 85, 90, 85, 80, like that. So you have to decrement by 5 based on your country. When you have all these points in hand, it is easy to write the looping statement. And then the last important concept is the functions. Uh, I will receive a call. Wait for a few minutes. I will come back and then we will continue with functions. Sorry for inconvenience. We'll continue. When we coming for the function, that is the next level of programming. So suppose there is a situation. I will go with the example, then you can identify where we are applying functions. So in the case of previous one, I displayed the name 10 times using loops. Okay, fine. So now there is a situation. I have to display the name 5 times at the beginning. After that, I'm doing some other work in the program. So x equal to some value, y equal to some value, z equal to some x plus y. I have done some calculations, right? And then I'm printing the value of x comma y comma z. Otherwise, I will print the answer z value. After that, I need to print the name again. Then what happened? I have to repeat the looping statement here. Then after that, I'm going to do some other concept. So x equal some value, y equal to some value, is that equal to x star y, something, print is it. So again, after printing is it, again I got to put the name 10 times. If there is a situation like this, that is some of the statements are repeated in many places. That is the point I wish to share here. So here, one time I have to display the name 5 times, and second time I have to display the name 5 times, and third time I have to display the name 5 times. Suppose if there is a situation like this, again the coding is repeated. Whenever the coding is repeated, the size of the program is increased. When the size is increased, obviously your memory size is increased. Whenever we are writing the program, we have to consider about the memory process also. Now what happened? The same statements are repeated. The understanding is wrong with the program, but see the number of lines. So now what happened? You make this repeated statement into one function. That means you write the coding only once and you have to use it many times in your program. That is the concept of functions. Where you have to apply the function, some statements are repeated. Then if it is repeated, you are going for loop, fine. And that looping statement is repeated in many places. What happens? You have to write it once and execute it within the same program in many places. That is the one case. And another case is you have to use it in another programs also. So that's why it is a code reusability. When you're going for an industry, they expect you to write the program in functions. They combine all the functions together and then they will generate the final output. So your complexity is reduced. There are two types of functions available in every programming language, predefined or built-in function, which is readily available. You have to just use it. That is one thing. User defined means you have to define the function and then you have to execute it. So in the case of here, instead of writing these number of lines, I make this print statement as one function and I can use it. So when you use it, the number of lines are very simple. Here, definition of display, I make the function. You don't know about the coding itself. How I can reduce the coding. That is the thing you have to watch it here. And then here, there is no need to repeat the statement here. But instead of that, you can call the function. That's all. One time you have to call the function. This statement is also not needed. You just call it here. And here also. Now the number of lines are reduced, but you will get the same effect of output. When you run this, you will get the same. But the thing is, the coding is reduced. You have written the coding once. So now you have written the coding once, but you used it in many places. That is the concept of function. Now, this is within the program. Suppose if you want to use it in other programs also, write the definition separately. Write the definition separately in the program, but run it for the error checking. So in another program, this is the another program. You have to use that program, import sample. So sample 3.display. Now I didn't write the definition here, but from that program I'm using the definition. I'm calling the function here. That is the concept. So you can use the function within the program or outside the program. You will run that. You will get the same result here. Somebody, yes, it is a sample 3. That is a mistake. Because the sample 3 contains the definition of the function display, and in that implement one function, I'm using that function here. That is the concept. So you can use it within the program and also outside the program. So more than one program. That is the concept. So these 6 concepts you have to clear with any programming language, then you can adopt with any programming language. And last few points, when you're going to write a program, what we always doing is directly we will go open the C environment or C++ environment, Java environment or Python environment, and then what we are doing, we directly type the program. No, first we should analyze the program. How to analyze the program? So this is the program. Get the number, check if it is odd or even. So first, you have to identify the inputs and identify the outputs. Then you have to identify what process has to be done to make the input to reach that output. That is the concept used. So usually you have to work it on the paper. So here get the number. First you have to input what are all the things you have to identify, how many inputs. So get a number, there is a only one input, and then you have to identify type of input. That is, it is a whole number or a float like that. So I identify, I have to get one number, and then I have to convert it into, that is, that should be the whole number. I have to identify what is the output. How many output? There is one output. What is the type of input? Because whether it have to display odd number or even number, that is a text input. So then you have to identify what is the processing. How to identify whether the number is odd or number? You have to find the remainder. If the remainder is 0, then you can say that it is an even number. If the remainder is 1, you have to identify that it is an odd number. First, you have to identify what is the input, what type of input, what is the output, what type of output, and what process has to be done. Here the process is you have to find the remainder. Then you have to go with the programming language. So how to get the input in Python, how to make the input, so whether how to make the input into the integer. After that, how to find the remainder, you have to go for the arithmetic operators, in which operator is used to find the remainder. And then I say that remainder is 0 and remainder is odd. Obviously, there is a decision. So which decision you have to use? Whether simple if no. Because if it is 0, there is one option. Otherwise, here it is a odd. So if else you have to use. Like that you decide and then write it. And then you have to print the output. There's one more example I will go with that. So register number, name, M1, M2, M3. This is the input. So how many inputs you need? Three inputs. What type of input? One is a whole numbers, register number M1, M2, M3 are whole numbers, that is integers. And another one is a string. Sorry, there is a mistake. It is a not integer, it is a string. Then you have to, what is the result? So you have to calculate total and average, and then whether check all the marks is 40 and above, then pass or fail. And then how many outputs? There is three outputs you have to generate. That is, you have to display the total, you have to display average, and you have to display whether you get pass or fail. So integer, float, and string. So like that, if you analyze the problem, read the problem many times, analyze it, what are all the inputs, and then you have to analyze whether you have to use the decision making statement there, or whether we have to use the looping statement there, whether there is a need of making function there. All these things identify, then apply the concept one by one simply. Then obviously you will be a good programmer. So that's all. Now it's a time for the discussion. If you have any doubts, you can ask.
ஏமா நான் நீ இங்க இருக்கேன்னா
Ma'am, are you there? Ma'am? Ma'am, the session is over. Let them ask doubts, ma'am. Hmm. And one more important thing, if you don't understand the concept, raising the question is very important to have a clear idea in programming knowledge.
Hello. Hello.
Tell me, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Greeting to everyone present today, including our distinguished chief guest, Mrs. K.Vani, MCA, M.Phil, ME, Ph.D, Python trainer from Brainstack Solution Private Limited, Chennai. Our founder, vice chancellor, register, convener and co-convener, organizing committee, staff, and all participants. It is an honor to have the opportunity to express my appreciation to the dignitaries present. I am grateful to the esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and efforts in making their event a success. I extend my sincere thanks to our honored chief guest, Ms. K.Vani, MCA, M.Phil, Ph.D, for taking time from her busy schedule to be with us. Your words of inspiration and encouragement on this special day are greatly appreciated. A special thanks goes to our management for their unwavering support in making this webinar a success. My gratitude also goes to Dr. S. Perumal sir, Head of the Department Computer Science, for his efforts in organizing this event more successful. I must also acknowledge the organizing team and all staff members for their hard work in the lead up of this webinar. I would like to extend my thanks to our lovable students who made this webinar more successful. Thank you once again to everyone for making this event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, shall I leave the meeting?
Kindly fill the
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
students kindly fill the feedback form and then leave the Zoom meeting.